It's the weekly show about rAVe with the hottest news in the AV industry. It's rAVe TV. Give it up for Steph and Gary. Steph and Gary.
Hey everyone, this is Gary K and Steph Beckett, and this is rAVe TV.
Yep.
I should move my microphone a little bit closer, right,
Ooh.
Steph? Is that better?
That's
yeah. There you go. I forgot about that. As I was starting, I just like, oh wait a minute, where's my mic?
We can still hear you fine.
Yeah. It's so much better when it's closer though. Thanks to Shure.
Yeah. Nice and crisp.
So this is the industry's only live TV show, and we come to you every Wednesday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern, so that in Europe it's 3 p.m. In the UK it's 2 p.m.
Yeah.
And then we restream at noon so that California is awake.
Yeah, exactly. So no matter what time it is where you are, there's a rAVe TV option for you.
On a Wednesday. Tomorrow, 24 hours from now, we will have already done
rePLAY.
ISE rePLAY.
Yeah, exactly. So if you guys are curious about what that is, basically Gary and I pull the product videos that we liked, enjoyed, thought were relevant, ones that encapsulate trends that are on the show floor, and we just show them to you for like an hour.
And we don't show you the whole video. We just show you little clips, and we curate. So basically, we curated what we think are the best products on the show floor. Not necessarily award-winning products, ones that are most interesting. Some of them win awards. Some of them obviously are innovative products, but some of them are just things that we saw that were really cool. One thing I definitely want to show, Steph, is that and I forget exactly what it's called, and you even knew how to pronounce it, but I didn't. That thing that was in the Row booth.
Oh, it is Art Morph, a collaboration with Seiko Seiko.
Seiko, that's the thing. Yeah, and it's really cool, and it's something we're going to show you tomorrow, and it's a really unique. It's a way that interior designers and architects can use LED in a really surprising but artistic way, and I think that's what's really cool about our industry is we can make art appear from any. In fact, above Steph's head there is a Samsung frame TV showing artwork. I don't know. Do you have it set to change artwork as we're on, or what happens?
No, I have it set on this one always because it like goes with my house. Yeah,
it's got your house does have that. What is it? Degas? What is it?
Yeah. Like very, like Gaudi inspired. Like very, a lot happening. Maximalism is, I think, the term that people are using.
A lot of colors, a lot of So
exactly.
And that's Samsung. That was pretty innovative to do that, and now our industry does a lot more of that. And they're doing that really cool on LED. So that'll be something that we show. I'm sure we'll show them how Kirsten and I put her face and your face on the LED in the LG booth. That's something we should show.
Yeah.
There's a really simple solution from Heckler. Hopefully we get that in there, because that thing from Heckler is really cool. And that's their first time exhibiting at the show. And if you're in live events, you're in staging, rentals, or you're in higher education and you use auditoriums ad hoc for presenters, for speakers that come in from out of town, or you convert a auditorium into a TEDx experience, Heckler's got some really cool, simple things to help you with that. They do. So we're going to show you some of those things. And so the whole point is, let's put that graphic back up there, Jeff. The rePLAY ISE is tomorrow. If you want to get up, it's 8 a.m. Eastern time. We're going to stream live because we want to make sure our European readers, because we have a publication called rAVe Europe, can see it live. But we'll also do another show, not restream, but a whole nother show at 2 p.m. for our US audience tomorrow as well. So Steph and I will be on twice. So the curation of the products could be slightly different for our US and European audiences, but basically we're going to make sure you have a live experience. So we basically want to get your feedback, and we want to give you the chance to ask us questions, right, Steph?
Exactly. Exactly. We would love for you guys to be as involved as you want to be, and Gary and I will be there, obviously live, so you can ask us questions and we'll respond to you. So
yeah, so just scan that QR code or go to launch.com if you have a launch account already, LAVNCH, and sign up for it. And you can join it at 8 a.m. or 2 p.m. Eastern time. That would be 2 p.m. Central European time.
It'll be
tomorrow.
about an hour long, and I have crammed about 40 products into it. So it's going to be a good time.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. So I'll be there. So let's jump into the news, because we got some interesting things that have happened here this week, which is usually slow. You know, February is usually a slow news.
Right. Like after ISE, it's usually like far and few between. But let's talk about the blog you wrote first.
Yeah. So do we have the ability to show the graphic that I had drawn for the blog? Do you think we can pop that up here?
Yes, I can do that in 1 second.
Okay. So basically, I think that the entire collaboration industry has done a really good job helping the remote participant, if you're working from home, feel part of the meeting by allowing you to see the facial expressions and the nuances of people in the meeting. And the way they're doing that is take a room shot, chop it up, and then you see individual images from each person in the meeting room if you choose to see it that way. There's different names for it. There's different sort of technologies that are built inside Zoom and Teams, and then each of the collaboration companies also have the ability to do that as well, you know, using different AI platforms that they've built into their cameras and things.
Jeff, share my screen.
Yeah, so the thing that I think is missing is the ability to help the in-room viewer have as good of experience. In fact, I think, Steph, that the remote participant currently right now in a meeting that is hybrid has a better experience than the in-room participant, because they see everything going on in the room. They can see the screen share, and they're seeing it right in front of their face. If you're in the meeting room, if someone remotely starts talking, you don't know who it is, because we don't use spatial audio. And even if they are shown in the room, at best they're shown as a little teeny block below, using something like Microsoft Teams Front Row below the content. So my vision here, and I'm going to hope that you can zoom in a little bit more, Steph, if you have that ability to do that. I don't know which program you're using there, but my hope is that we can build rooms like this, which is, if you look, there's a front of room, right? That leader of the meeting is right there to the left of what you're looking at. But that we build rooms in the future where the side walls are being used to bring in the remote participants, and they're sitting. It's as if, just like, imagine a meeting room where you have enough people in the room, Steph, where you have a back row. So you have a front row where everyone's sitting around the table, and a back row where everyone's sitting behind them. And you have sort of a back row, not a front row, but a back row of everyone in the meeting who's remote coming in, but they're in life-size proportions. So if you see what I had Anne-Marie draw there, this was actually Anne-Marie who did this, graphic designer. What you see there is those people that are coming in remote, they're in life-size proportions, Steph, so that when they do start talking, the audio comes from that display. So you turn your head that way and you look at the person talking just like you would in real life. Yeah.
That's so funny that this was your vision as well, because I feel like I said something to like Emily Dean maybe last year, and I was like, Emily, I've realized something, and meeting equity isn't real.
We're halfway there. Like, the remote participants getting, ironically, a better experience than the in-room. Whereas, before the pandemic, the in-room experience was the best experience. But now the remote participants getting it better. We need to do better on the in-room experience by bringing the remote participants. So I wrote a whole article about it.
Yes.
Right? And it's on our website. You can actually go and scan that QR code, or you can go to ravepubs.com, and it's highlighted on our website right now as a featured story. I will tell you that, Steph, there's 5 major collaboration companies in the market. Right. There's 5 companies that make the collaboration products. 2 of the 5 have reached out to me to ask to talk to, for me to talk to their product managers or engineering department about this concept, because I definitely think it is So, and I think you're going to see by Infocom some stuff where people are going to show you ways to do this. And what's really cool is if you're an integrator, you should love this, because now all of a sudden you could be really artistic about this. Instead of just putting up, 55-inch monitors mounted vertically, you could put up all different shapes and sizes of monitors all around the room and make it sort of an artistic wall that when the room's not being used, sort of like your monitor back there, Steph, when the room's not being used, it could be used to display artwork, but then when there's a meeting, people appear there.
I think that that's really smart.
Yeah, that's my idea, at least. We'll see. So that blog is on our website now, and I do challenge integrators to do a better job there, but also manufacturers to help them by building better products to allow them to do that. You can do that now with a video wall processor, and there's some other technology that allows you to do that. But there are, but to do it really well, somebody needs to build a box that takes those feeds from Zoom and Teams and breaks them up easier than they do now, right? It is possible to do it now, but and the cool thing is this is going to help our industry grow. And you could do this in a classroom as well. The remote participants in a classroom come in a high flex environment. This would be more like a high flex meeting room.
The only problem I could see with this is there are more points of failure with more feeds getting sent to separate places, which means then separate.
Yeah. So that's the point. That's the whole reason why we need cloud-based management services and the ability to sort of manage this stuff over a network. And we send the signals as network signals. So it's either all working or not. So we don't have a single point of failure. It's either always working or the whole thing fails. The whole thing and the likelihood of the whole thing failing is all based on the quality of the design. So I think it's very possible. I think another companies that you could see jumping into this segment of the market, Steph, would be Extron, Crestron, companies like that, or companies like that who are creative in designing things. So yeah, the challenge is out there. Another story I wanted to bring your attention to is, y'all remember Todd Bowman from Sharp NEC? He came in as the president of Sharp NEC during the transition when they went from NEC, when NEC was sold to Sharp, and they became one company, and now they're just Sharp. Well, he of course left after all that, and now he's now the new CEO of Proto. Now you may know Proto as that. We've covered him a few times, Steph. What's the term I'm using? All of a sudden left my head. But that 3D, it's not 3D. It's gosh, why am I? This is an old moment, Steph, right here. You're seeing it play out in real life. But holographic projection technology. There you go. I lost the word. I lost the word holographic live on rAVe TV here. So anyway, my head's filled with too many things.
Yeah. You cleared that out to make room for other stuff.
That's right. I'm going to clear it up now. All right, we got a word from one of our sponsors, Crestron. Check out this video real quick, and we'll be back with some news about a partnership that Sony's got with Adobe.
Okay, so what Gary said a second ago, Autodesk is not Adobe.
Yeah, I don't know why I thought Adobe, but
it's okay. It's okay.
Two problems today already.
You're getting up there.
I know. I'll tell you what.
So Sony's partnered with Autodesk to make its VRED work with Sony's 3D spatial reality displays. And I love anytime Sony finds a new use case or application for its spatial reality displays, because when they first came out, I was like, that's great. What do you do with it? But they've actually used it in some really, really cool applications just like this, because this Autodesk 3D visualization software lets designers and engineers create like product presentations and things like that, and like show virtual prototypes. So Sony's spatial reality display is actually like a very perfect partnership for that.
Yeah, and a lot of the integrations that are for that SRD have come from gaming companies like Unreal Engine and Epic Games, and now they're reaching out more to do more integrations with, you know, if you think about this case, that you could visualize an entire building being built, right? Because a lot of architects use Autodesk products to build, you know, BIM buildings. So there's a lot of potential in this display being able to provide you a, you know, maybe that I read an article this weekend. I meant to send to you, Steph, about the Banana building in New York City, the building that started leaning one way and then they started building it the other way. And now it's like there's a bunch of lawsuits because they stopped construction of the thing. Yeah. Maybe if they were using the SRD with Autodesk software, that Banana building wouldn't have happened. What do you think?
It wouldn't have happened. Yeah.
I think it's a little more complicated.
Do you think about ever how hard it must be to be an architect? Yeah. I do.
I think it's amazing when you walk down New York City or Chicago or, you know, any big city like that in China, and you look up and you see how aligned all these buildings are from bottom to top. But what's interesting is they are off, you know, and they can, if you're off, you know, even an inch at the bottom, at the top, you're going to be off feet, right?
Yeah.
And you know, these buildings do sway in the wind. I mean, there's a building, I forget exactly where, but there's a building, maybe it's Dubai. There's a building being built that's going to be 1 kilometer high, you know, which is, you know, 6/10, almost 7/10 of a mile high, which is, you know, stunning, right?
Yeah.
And so just the architectural feat to be able to not only design that, but to build it is crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like to think about all the things that you have to take into account to fully design a building, like all of the real world things that happen, like in Manhattan, wind. And like there are so many wind tunnels that get accidentally created like between the buildings of Manhattan, and you have to take all of that into account when you make a new building. And that is just a lot. So if you're an architect, know that I think you're really smart.
Yeah, it's always, you know, I'm afraid of heights. I would never be in that industry, but in any case, hey, Visionary Solution. Hearing us or not, I think they're just
there. We are.
Okay. There we go. We're back. So I was saying that Visionary Solutions partnered with Extreme Networks to simplify AV over IP across their network devices that are out there, and we actually have a video that we shot at ISE highlighting Visionary Solutions' new products and stuff. All that is on our website at ravepubs.com. So make sure you check that out. And you know, another one of our oh, actually, we can show that video, can we not?
Yeah, I have like a minute of it ready to go.
That's an interview.
We are talking about something that is a pretty new announcement. So let's kind of start high level here. We are talking about something called it's Extreme Networks. Is that what it is? And correct, it's called Fabric Attached. Do you want to explain to the people who are watching who might not be familiar with what that is a little bit about it?
Sure. The simplest way to think about Fabric Attached is a way for devices to tell the network what they need.
Okay.
So basically the device kind of wakes up and says, hey, I belong to this group, and so you should do whatever you need to do to put me on the right, essentially subnet, VLAN, and the right service ID. And that allows the packets to find their way through the network using a thing called shortest path bridging. And that's kind of a replacement for spanning tree protocol. But the most important thing about it is it allows your packets to flow to where they're supposed to go without you having to do a lot of configuration, or sometimes any.
All right. We're back. All right. Let's see. What's the next story, Steph?
Okay. So next story, let's talk about Quick Link's Zoom integration.
Yeah.
So I don't know if everyone should be pretty familiar with Quick Link, right? This is pretty popular company. They've teamed up with Zoom to integrate that into its multiple solutions. So Studio Edge, Studio Pro. This allows high quality Zoom calls to be like integrated into the productions, which is really, really smart because
I wish we had that. in this broadcast, because that would allow us to have guests come on just through Zoom, or have random people come on and ask us questions through Zoom. So when I wrote up that story, or saw that story, whatever, I can't remember, I literally sent it to the founder of the production software we use, Steph, and I said, you need to do this. And he goes, I'm on it. So
I love that they listen to us.
They do. I mean, we are a big user. I think we're their biggest live event producer. I mean, I think we do more live stuff than anyone else. So, but yeah, and so this is a good thing. And I think, we're going to see more and more of our industry in the broadcast industry cross paths. By the way, Steph, this is a good time for us to talk about our ISE microsite, I think, because we shot 2,400 videos at ISE, and tomorrow we're having our rePLAY event. But Jeff, if you could do
let me share my screen, Jeffrey,
of Steph's screen, that would help, because what we're going to do is we're going to walk you through our microsite right now, so that you have an opportunity to see.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I can just tell you guys. So this is kind of where our product videos live. Of course, this is not all of them. These are just the ones that we've uploaded like most recently. You can, of course, search through our videos here. If you want to search by brand, you can search through all of our ISE content by brand or product type or whatever. And that comes up with like the stories that we've written and also the videos. But the great thing is we've also sorted our videos into categories. So if you just want to see some unified communication technology, if you just want to see stuff you can use in education, that's where you do it.
I'm back.
We have a counter here with all of the news and blogs that we've written up, the videos, all of the tweets that we've sent out, a few more product videos here. These are all of our lovely rAVe TV episodes that we did during the show. We did 5, so 1 for each show day and 1 for setup, so that you guys could kind of see the booths being built, because I always love that. I think that that's like a fun part of the show. And then we have some of our top stories from ISE. So these are think pieces, blogs, columns, but we also have a ton of product news stories here. And then the direct from manufacturer releases are also in a section here. And then we have some pre-show video casts as well. So this is like your one-stop shop. If you want to see anything from the show, come here and check it out. So
yeah. And so the idea is that you go to raypubs.com/ISE, and everything ISE is in one place. And that includes every video we shot. So you have the ability to search any brand and that video will come up, or you can search any subject and that video will come up. And we've been doing this for 13 years at ISE. And, this past year, Steph and her team wrote up and shot somewhere around 3,000 total stories and videos. When you count everything together, there's like 3,000 pieces of content on there. And of course, you can always just Google it. So if you Google any product or any brand that was at ISE, if you put in ISE, rAVe, Sony, if you just do that, all the videos we shot at ISE. If you put in 2025, only the 2025 videos will show up. If you put in 2024 and 25, those videos for those 2 years will come up. So you can just do a search on Google and it'll pop up, because we've also, all the content we put here is also available on YouTube as well. So that makes it easy for you to find.
Exactly.
So, yeah. So we don't really care where you watch it, whether it's on our site or YouTube or whatever.
So watch it wherever makes the most sense to you.
Yeah.
All right. So let's talk about our sponsor and partner, rAVe. They have launched a partner portal, which means this kind of helps its North American partners by offering them a platform to enhance their collaboration, streamline communication beyond traditional channels like email, trade shows, etc. This kind of gives you a very seamless access to sales, marketing resources, content, product videos, registration tools. So this is just kind of like rAVe's one-stop shop for all of its partners, so that you don't have to look in multiple places, basically is what this is doing. So,
and thanks to rAVe for continuing to support all that we do on rAVe TV. Also a big thanks to Crestron, our newest sponsor, and Shure, which we'll get to in a moment, as a sponsor. But LG opened up a big virtual production set
That's so cool.
Recently in New York City, and what they're doing is they're basically, it's outside of New York, I should say. It's
Yeah,
in
Inglewood
in their
Cliffs, New
headquarters
Jersey. Yeah,
in New Jersey. What they're doing with that is to show you sort of like, okay, here's how you can use LED as a virtual production. Here's how we can use LED in virtual production. And what's interesting about this, Steph, is they're actually allowing third-party companies to come in and use it. So if you want to shoot something there, you can actually book it and shoot it. It's also got Moses camera tracking system, which they also, if you remember, they had an investment in them. I don't know if they own the whole thing or a majority interest in it, which makes sense because production is becoming bigger. Television, movie, film production, all of that stuff is now moving to partially, at least I should say, LED based. So yeah, so if you want to see what it's like to build a virtual production studio, or you want to use a production studio, you can actually go to LG's North American headquarters and do that. And they told me they're going to do this all around the world. So they're going to have one in Europe, and they're going to have one in Asia as well. So we're going to see more of this. And of course, all the LED companies have started doing stuff like this. In case of Sony, they partnered with USC Film School, and they put in a micro LED there. So there's, a lot of this is going on right now. And another story I wrote up that it took me a while to understand exactly all of this because I'm not an audio expert, but this Kscape partnered with, which is a part of KRA, the speaker company, partnered with a company called Kumux, Kumux, and I could be pronouncing that wrong. Steph, am I?
I don't think so.
Okay. So the idea behind this is the two of them can now model lighting design, and it's using AI and actual images of the space. And it can model, when you put lights in a certain location, exactly how it's going to light the space. But you can also adjust the intensity of the lights by the voltage that you put in. Like, for example, if you were using a dimmer or something like that. But then it also can model the soundscapes as well. So it can ultimately tell you sort of, in this space, here's how you would design that space. And here's the products you would use in that space, and how the impact of that space is going to be, so that you have no dead spaces in there. So it's really kind of cool, their partnership, obviously. And so it's all using AI. I guess this is Kumux's expertise, and now they've just built in Kscape products into it, basically.
It's like health centric, right?
Yeah. So the idea behind this is, I mean, there's this big movement towards wellness in the workplace. And, and so the idea would be not only just to model it, but also make it a better environment, both from a lighting and sound standpoint as well. So there have been moves to do this in the past. If you recall, I think it was Poly actually came out with a artificial waterfall thing. Wasn't it Poly? Who was that did that? It's been so many years ago. I think it was Poly, where they had this like waterfall thing. This is before HP owned them. That used real water, and it was a waterfall, but the noise coming from that, the idea would be you put this waterfall in a big co-working space or in a big call center space, and the sounds would calm you, right? I mean, there's this big movement towards, supporting well-being, mood, and performance in the workplace, and it's part of that. So, yeah. So it affects both light and sounds. So I don't know. I don't know much about that. I just think the whole thing is interesting because I like anything that creates new market opportunities.
And I like anything that helps you not have seasonal depression.
There you go. I mean, I don't know if this would solve that, but it would definitely help.
It might help.
Yeah, exactly. So Extron yesterday launched an entry-level version of its NAV over IP decoder, right? So you put one of these behind anywhere there's a display, right? And it allows you to, anything you put on the network, it can pull it off the network and put it on that display. And it's simple. It's just a simple network in, HDMI out, and audio. And it's the NAV SD121. It does support 4K 6444 chroma sampling. It's 1 gig. And so Yeah, I mean, I think sports HDMI audio AES 67 has a DSP built into it. So you know, it's an entry level product, but ultimately is packed full of all the stuff the nav systems need. Yeah, so that product, you know, I think what this indicates, Steph, is Extron becoming more aggressive with their AV over IP. Extron, when they came out with their AV over IP, was aiming it towards facility-wide integration. Like it wasn't. They didn't want you to go in and just do a classroom or a meeting room. They want you to do the whole facility, building, campus, right? Now, I think now this opens the door up for them to just do one-off transmission receiving, but also smaller systems. So yeah, I haven't talked to them about this specifically yet, but that's kind of what I surmised from what they introduced yesterday.
Yeah. So our last sponsor and partner is Shure, and they were celebrating 100 years of its company and its innovations at ISE. And here is a short video that explains a little bit about that.
The story of sound is the story of us, a 100-year-long story. Through a century of change, Shure's been there. In every presentation, every conversation, uniting people and perspectives, amplifying dialogues that span generations, and igniting connections that push us forward. Because sound doesn't just tell our story, it shapes our future and inspires us to keep innovating. So here's to 100 years of extraordinary sound and the next 100.
All righty. It's amazing to think there's a company in our industry that's 100 years old, and there's actually a couple of them, right? I mean, you got, I think the other one's Daylight. But yesterday, also Epson announced that all of their projectors that are sub 20,000 lumens, meaning 19,000 and below, now just work on 110 volt, 120 volt outlet, just a regular North American outlet. Don't need 220 volts, 230 volts to operate them. This is substantial for rental staging company applications where you're you need a really bright projector in sort of a ballroom, conference room. You don't have to have a special power brought in. Also for classrooms, auditoriums, you plug it in and all of a sudden you get a really bright projector, because the brightest prior to this was about 12,000 ANSI lumens, but now all the way up to 19,000 ANSI lumens, 120 volt outlet. That's pretty substantial stuff. So this, you know, it's a game changer. And I think that'll just keep getting better, like as they get more efficient, right? Because it is going to it's ultimately based on the amperage. Because, you know, the reason why they need the higher voltage is they need the higher amperage. So as it gets more and more efficient, maybe a year or two from now, it'll be 25,000 and below. So yeah, that's pretty cool. And it's amazing to me to think, because when I was in this industry in the beginning, well, first off, they didn't have, you know, the brightest projector when I was first in this industry stuff was like 100 ANSI lumens, but the 500 ANSI lumens type projectors that came out Hughes was one of the companies that had one, Hughes JVC. Those were the size of a refrigerator and took 220 volts, and there were 500 ANSI lumens. It's pretty amazing to think out that you have a projector that's sort of portable, that's 90,000 ANSI lumens that you can plug right into a regular outlet.
That's so funny.
It's crazy.
It is crazy. So, okay, last thing that we wanted to bring up, well, one of the last things we wanted to bring up. So 7th Sense, which that's the company that powers the Sphere. And like they just do some crazy projection mapping. They're pretty much at the forefront of that, at least to me. So they also power the F1 exhibition with by controlling, like with its Media Launch show control technology. So what they do, this is an immersive exhibition in London. It shows all of the capabilities of Media Launch in managing and enhancing the visitor experience for those visitors to the F1 exhibition.
And Media Launch, if you remember, Steph, or maybe you didn't know this, it used to be owned by Barco. And before then they were a separate company, but yeah. So this is just showing experiential, right? This is like how you can use AV in experiential applications. So we love these kind of applications. And we do want to remind you that tomorrow at 8 a.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Central European time, we will be doing rePLAY ISE, where, as Steph mentioned earlier, where we curate 2,400 videos. We're going to curate it down to a couple of dozen and show you which ones we thought were our favorite products that you need to pay attention to, that have a lot of potential for 2025. So join us tomorrow, and we may even do some ISE 2025 awards. So stay tuned.
If you're lucky. All right.
So
Yeah,
thank you, everyone.
And thank you guys for watching. And yeah, we'll see you tomorrow, and also we'll see you next Wednesday. So bye, everybody.
It's the weekly show about Pro AV with the hottest news in the AV industry. It's rAVe TV. Give it up for Steph and Gary. Steph and Gary.